Hello, I'm Cheryl Baker and welcome to Cruise 101. And in this series we aim to get you fully prepared for your first cruise holiday. In this edition we're talking top packing tips, and here to guide us through what you should and shouldn't pack is cruise guru and editor of Cruise Critic, Adam Coulter.
Hi,
I think
Cheryl.
you were a guru then, not a guru.
Not guru, I'll take it. Never been called one of them before, but anyway, thank you.
So how much should you pack to go on board a ship? On
As much as you want, literally. I mean, there is no limit. That's the beauty of it. It's not like, you know, all that stuff you have to worry about, airports, 23 kilograms, anything over that, you have to pay excess baggage. This is cruising from the UK. Cruising from the UK, I hasten to add.
Yes.
Obviously, if you've got any fly section involved, you've got to go through all the airport nonsense. But if you're if you're cruising directly from Southampton or indeed any other UK regional ports, cruise lines say, as long as you can fit it into your cabin, you can take it on board. So
the whole luggage process is simple, isn't it? Because once you get... When do they take your luggage?
So if we go back a step, the easiest thing is when you get all your bump through, either more frequently now it's online, you'll be taken through to a link where you can print out your baggage tags.
Right.
And then you stick those on every single one with your cabin number, your stateroom number, and then you put them on each of the bags. And to go back to your original question, what you do is at the check-in process, at the check-in place, you hand over your bags and you don't see them again until you check into your cabin. So they're taken on board. In fact, just before the check-in process, you hand them in, so long as you've got the luggage on board. Sorry, the luggage tag on board, and then you don't see them until they wind up outside your stateroom.
Oh. Wonderful.
Yeah,
so it's none of that lugging it up and down the corridors.
Not unless you want to, no. I mean, they don't encourage you to do that because it creates jams. You know, everyone's trying to get on board at one time. You're all trying to squeeze into the lift. If everybody's got their suitcases with them, it makes it really difficult. So they're much happier if you leave it at the port. Just before check-in, I think it usually is. But if you don't know your stateroom number, then you can do it afterwards. You hand it to a porter, and as I say, next time you see it, fingers crossed, it's going to be outside your cabin. But presumably, especially on a big ship, it takes a bit of time for all that luggage to be delivered. Yeah.
So would you recommend maybe keeping a small bag of
I would always
essentials?
Recommend that. Yeah, every time I would do that, definitely. Take a small bag with the stuff that you think you'll need. I mean, a good example, for example, if it's a decent sunny day, you know, you want to hit the swimming pool straight away. So you want to be packing your swimsuit in your hand baggage, for example, maybe some suntan lotion, you know, a pair of shorts or something like that. I would always recommend that anyway, to have a few essentials rather than put everything into the main bag and assume it's going to turn up at the right time, because sometimes they don't turn up till, you know, an hour before the ship departs. And I've been in a situation like that where I'm going down front desk and I'm saying, where's my luggage? You know, I need to get ready for the cocktail party or whatever, or the sail away party, you know, and all your stuff, you don't know where your stuff is. Now, I would say 99% of the time it does turn up, but there are examples when it doesn't, particularly if I've done a fly cruise and maybe the bit between the airport and the cruise port, something goes amiss or awry, you know, so that does happen. So it's always worth taking on a bag of essentials. Oh, so if it's a fly cruise, if you're flying, say, to the Caribbean, when do you say goodbye to your luggage and see it again there? Again, really good question, and it does vary. Certainly the ones that I've experienced, you have to pick up your luggage from the airport, you take it back through, and then you get onto the transfer bus, and then that bus takes you to the cruise port, and then you have to hand the baggage over again. Right. But there are points at which it could get lost, you know, and sometimes it does. Which makes it tricky. I was on a cruise, I was working on the night that I boarded the ship, and they took my luggage, and half an hour before the show I still didn't have my luggage, and I had my posh frock in it that I was wearing for the show. I ran down to the luggage area and they found it for me. It was just that it hadn't been delivered yet. That's all it was. So it does take time, doesn't it? It does. And when you think about some of these mega ships, you've got over 5,000 passengers. Let's say, you know, on average they're taking one, maybe two suitcases. That's 10,000 pieces of luggage you've got to get on board. You know, that's just a rough example. So, but you know, your example is a really good one. If you're performing, I mean, let alone just wanting to go for a swim in the pool, you need to put your posh frock into your...
Well, I didn't.
You didn't?
I packed my music, my schedule of what I was going to do and sing, but I didn't pack my dress.
But you got it in the end. You did get it.
I did
half
get
an hour
it,
before. Yeah.
My sister was running around looking for my bag.
Oh, dear.
But the staterooms, of course, aren't like a big hotel room. You know, they are confined mostly, aren't they?
Well, it depends. Obviously, if you've got a suite, then you've got bags of room, you've got walk-in wardrobes. But let's say we go for a standard balcony cabin stateroom. What's interesting is all the beds are raised, so you can usually get a suitcase underneath, and also in the cupboards as well. Some of them have got drawers underneath, and usually you're going to have 2 or 3 wardrobes. So you should, depending on the length of your cruise and how many shoes you bring with you, you should have enough.
I have a pair of shoes for every outfit. So.
You should have enough space to put all your stuff, you know. But it depends how many people are in the room as well, because if you've decided to go with your kids and go into a regular stateroom, you know, with either the sofa bed converting into a bed, or sometimes with those Pullmans, you know, that come down from the ceiling, or the walls. It's a bit of a squeeze, especially if you've got quite young kids with tons and tons of different clothing that you're having to wash every single day. So bear it in mind how big your cabin is in terms of how much stuff you bring with you.
Well, especially for the ladies, like you joke about the shoes, but it is true.
Yeah,
we do have a thing about shoes and bags, and of course, if you've got those special evenings that maybe you know, they say there's a black and white ball, or tonight's the carnival night or something, you know, but bring something colourful.
Bear that in mind.
And most ladies like to dress up, and
they like a variety of stuff. You know.
So I think it's fair to say that the men should have less wardrobe space than the ladies. I
think that's always the case, isn't it, Cheryl? It's with me anyway.
Now us Brits, we like a cup of tea.
We certainly do.
And so, how about bringing one of those little portable kettles?
Well, there's different rules surrounding these. Now, if you're on a P&O Cruises ship, don't worry about that. You will guarantee to have kettles in your room.
And English or British plug sockets?
Yes, on all the P&O Cruises ships. Also the Fred Olsen ones, Saga Cruises, Cruise and Maritime Voyages, Thompson. Right. Because those are the Brit cruise lines. Right. If you choose to go on an American cruise ship, you will need to bring an adapter with you, and unless they are in the UK for a long period of time, which many are, Independence of the Seas is based out of Southampton again, Celebrity Cruises as well, for example, you won't have kettles in the room, okay, but you will on those ships because they're here for a long time. Whether or not you're allowed to take kettles, again, it's like irons. It's frowned upon, to be honest, because you're taking a heating element, and anything that can heat stuff up is potentially dangerous. So the cruise lines don't really like that, to bring your own. But having said that, if you've got kettles in your room, you know, you can use those. Yeah. So I think you need to check the rules and regulations on that. I was on a Thompson ship that was bought. It was. I had one careful owner beforehand. Yes. And so it had to be adapted from American to British plugs, and they put in kettles. Oh, did they? Okay. Yeah. On the cruise that I was on, that's when they transferred all the plugs and they put kettles in. Oh, they did that. Okay. Yeah. But also, you've got to bear in mind is those the American voltage system is half of ours or something. It's 110 volts compared to 220. So it's true. The kettles take longer to boil. All right. Let's talk clothes. Okay. And shoes. Yes. Let's do that. What do you recommend? This is, you know, for someone who it's their very first cruise. What do you recommend that they take? Let's say, for instance, they're sailing from Southampton to the Med. It depends what cruise line. Okay. Now, the reason I say that is because some cruise lines are more formal than others. Okay. It also depends on the destination. So the Mediterranean, generally, it depends what time of year, but generally it's going to be quite sunny. So during the day, you're going. It depends what. Again, if you're going in March or April, you probably won't need as much sun cream, or there's still a bit of a nip in the air. But if you're going in midsummer, you need a cap or a hat. You need shorts. You need plenty of sun cream, especially if you're going with the kids. You need lightweight clothing all the time, so you don't need to pack a great deal. Now, having said that, in the evenings, some cruise lines still have a formal night or a dress-up night. So you probably want to be taking a jacket at least, maybe a tie. some cruise lines are even more formal, and you might need to take your black tie, you know, tuxedo, and really dress up smart. You mentioned about theme nights. Some cruise lines still do that. Like I know Norwegian has glow parties. And all white parties. So, you know, you need to be mindful of that as well if you want to participate in that.
But presumably they let you know that beforehand?
They do, yeah. They'll be on all the bumps that you get through. They'll say, oh, you know, day 3 is our glow party night, you know, and that involves dressing up. But also, I should add that if you're not wearing the requisite gear, they're not going to be not allowed in. Now, the only exceptions to that is you can't go to the main dining room on a formal night in flip-flops and shorts and t-shirt, and nor would, you know, anyone with an ounce of common sense wouldn't do that anyway. So what's formal now, what's regarded as formal now, would probably be casual a few years ago. But now, I think if you're wearing a collared shirt, and even, you know, smart jeans now have become more acceptable. You don't want ones full of rips and holes. And closed-toe shoes, I'm talking about gents here, then you're fine. Now with a lady, again, you know, you could wear a dress or a skirt, you could wear heels if you want or not. I think that the key thing is, so long as you don't look too scruffy on a formal or a semi-formal night, that's the important thing. But I mean, you mentioned about the Med, but if you're doing, let's say for example, and I will mention them because they are still known as a formal line, is Cunard. And if you're doing a Cunard crossing, transatlantic crossing, I think there are 3 formal nights still. And formal means formal, and that means a suit and tie. Although I think you can get away without a tie now in certain areas. But, you know, most people there, they like to dress up. I mean, there's still a lot of people that like to, and I don't see there's anything wrong with that, you know.
I love it. Yeah. But some people don't like it.
Some people don't, but then they should go on another cruise line. They should go on Norwegian.
How about it, you know, on Cunard then, on formal nights, is there an area where you can go that isn't formal? You know, like a lot of the ships, they say, oh, if you go to the buffet, you can wear whatever you like.
Generally the buffet, yeah.
So, and the same on Cunard? Yeah.
And no one's going to say, well, you can't come in, you're not wearing black tie in the buffet. You know, you can wear pretty well what you like.
Thank you very much, Adam, for the minute. Don't go anywhere. We'll have more top packing tips with Adam in just a few minutes. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back to Cruise 101, where we're sharing top packing tips with the editor of Cruise Critic, Adam Coulter. OK, top packing tips for men and for women. Go.
Well, I think the thing is, first thing is, I think it's easier for blokes, to be honest, in terms of what to bring along. Because, I mean, for me, my top packing tip is for a bloke is bring a jacket. Okay, and the reason I say that is because, you know, sometimes in the evening it can get a bit chilly. So if you want to step outside, walk along the promenade or whatever it is, it's always useful to have a jacket. Inside, it's always pretty well whatever you're wearing. I mean, even a t-shirt sometimes. You put a jacket on, suddenly you look smart. Yeah. So that would be my tip in terms of what to bring along. For ladies, well, the thing is that you need to be mindful of what is going to take place each evening. So you need to have, I would suggest, perhaps a couple of outfits, you know, so you need to have your sort of formal, semi-formal, but oftentimes, and I'm no expert on this, but you can if you just change one of the pieces you've got and put on some different jewellery or whatever, then you've got a whole new outfit. Yes. You throw a shawl on, suddenly it looks very different, you know, or you put a cardigan on or something like that, or you go from formal to semi-formal, you know, and in terms of also the shoes that you're wearing as well, so you can bring along heels, bring along flats or something in between, you know. So with the ladies, I would just be mindful of what the events are that are taking place and pack accordingly. Mix and match. Yeah, I'd mix and match a bit. You know better than me in this, Cheryl, honestly. Yes, I do. I try my best, but I think you're the expert in that. But I mean, you know, again, a pair of shoes, you know, take along a couple, it changes the outfit completely, doesn't it? Of course, yeah. So. And how about, we were just chatting in the break there, the fact that actually sometimes you don't even need an iron if you've got something creased. Yeah, no, I mean, I forgot to mention, there are a couple of top tips worth knowing about. So for example, most cruise lines, in the bathroom, you know those zip cord things that you pull along and put on the other thing, so they make an excellent washing line. Do not hang your washing out on your balcony because it will blow away. It doesn't look very nice. So no, always do them in the bathroom. And a good thing is if you put that thing across and then hang, you know, a couple of shirts that maybe you've only worn, you know, once and they've just got creased, the steam from the bathroom I'm sure a lot of people know this, but it gets rid of the creases.
Yes.
So it's good for another day. So that's a good tip. And the other thing is, especially if you've got young children, you're getting through so many clothes with them, you know, that you can, if you bring along some detergent or whatever, one of those packing ones, in fact, you can probably buy a couple of packets on the ship, then you can hand wash all of that in your bathroom and then just hang it up on the zip line thing.
So you don't need to take, if you're on a 14-day cruise, you don't need to take, you know, underwear for 14 days.
No, goodness no. I mean, that's one of the things worth bearing in mind. You don't, you know, just take, especially somewhere like the Caribbean, you know, you're going to be in your swimsuit most of the time. You probably need 2 pairs of swimsuits, you know, ladies maybe 3 bikinis or whatever, but and again a couple of pairs of shorts, but don't go crazy on the stuff. Just, you know, you'll be maybe flying from cold UK to the Caribbean, but the only stuff you need for cold weather is the stuff you're wearing. Once you've got there, you just need some basic stuff, a few changes of t-shirts. And the other thing is you can buy stuff in port. You know, I mean, I used to always, for example, I mean, it may sound like it's a waste of money to do so, but it makes quite a nice souvenir. So you go into a port, you're in wherever it is, St. Lucia or something, you buy a T-shirt, you know, that says St. Lucia. It's a bit cheesy.
I love it.
But it means that you've got a T-shirt from the particular place.
And every time I wear it, it reminds me that I was there.
Exactly. And it's good for the kids too. It's lovely souvenirs. So, you know, that sort of thing is worth bearing in mind. So you don't need to overpack.
Everybody does.
They do.
Even I, and I know now. I'm a seasoned traveller, and I still overpack. I still take back half of what I've packed unused, which is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't even learn myself. You know? Anyway, how about electrical? So hair dryers, straighteners, heated curlers, things like that. And things for the ladies.
Yes. I don't know what you're saying, Cheryl. Hair dryers, worth noting that the ones like in hotels generally, they're not very strong. You know, they're not very powerful. So if you have your favourite hair dryer, bring it along. Same with straighteners and curlers, bring those along too, because they will not provide those, and you won't be able to pop down to reception and say, oh, have you got a spare pair of curlers or straighteners, because they won't have those.
What about the wattage though? Because if you're on an American line, it's different,
it's generally weaker. I think it's 110 volts versus ours 220, so everything will take longer to heat up. So it's just worth bearing that in mind. If you're getting ready for dinner, you've got a dinner reservation at 7:30, you know, and it usually takes just a couple of minutes to heat up. Just factor in a bit more time to do the straightening of the hair or the drying of the hair. So, mind you,
do most of the cruise lines have hairdressers on board?
They do, yeah, they do. In the spa area, they always have lovely. I mean, I occasionally go and get the beard trimmed. You see men's, you know, gentlemen barbers in there. But yeah, the salons are always popular. You get pedicure, manicure, get your hair done, highlights. You know, they're always full, especially before formal night.
Oh yeah,
all the ladies are in there. Yeah, I mean, it was funny. I was once in the barbers and I was speaking to the woman doing my hair, and she said, yeah, it's become really popular. Normally, it's these the wives telling the husbands to get down and get their hair cut or get smartened up. You know, these elderly gentlemen in there reluctantly, you know, haven't been to the barbers for years. So you can always get you know, if you've run out of stuff or you need to get your hair done or you're worried about that, you've been in the Caribbean, you've got a big frizz and you need to get it straightened, then there's barbers and
I'm
salons.
the opposite. I go straight.
Oh, you go straight? Okay.
Drives me nuts. Never happy, are you, with your hair?
No, exactly.
What about children and babies? Can you get everything that you need? What about if your child loves playing on his console? Is it
oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yes. I mean, always bring the stuff to keep the kids quiet or happy, you know, bring along all the iPads and all the rest of it. But, you know, worth bearing in mind that once they're on board, most of these cruise lines have got fantastic family kids facilities. So, you know, take the iPad out of their hands and make them look at the beautiful scenery, and then put them in the kids club for a bit where they do activities and learn about the destinations they're going to, you know. So, I mean, always, I wouldn't, if I'm going on any distance like a long haul flight, I will always bring the iPads along.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you know, once you're on the ship, I think it's quite nice to just have family time and pull them off the screen, you know.
What about essentials, you know, like medication or things that you just don't want to leave behind, you want to take with you?
That's a really good question, because that's something that you can't just say, oh, I'll get it on board, you know. If you are on any sort of medication, I mean, you need to bring you need to bring a decent supply along, because you can't just expect to get off in a port and for them to provide it for you, especially if the ship is only there for a limited amount of time. If you're on any serious medication, I would advise the cruise line beforehand about this. There's always a doctor on board. Check that there is sufficient stuff in case you need extra. So definitely always pack the essentials. And again, I think we mentioned it before, but if you've got young children, make sure you bring along the right formula for them, or baby food, whatever it is that they might be having.
And you always take Marmite.
I always take Marmite. That's my
Have you ever
essential.
forgotten Marmite?
No, but
Or have you ever forgotten anything?
No, but here's a top packing tip. Don't try and bring Marmite that's over 100 grams in your hand baggage, because it will get confiscated at the airport. And this has happened to me twice. I know I should have learnt the first time. But it's happened to me twice, because it's regarded as I suppose if you boil it down, it becomes a liquid. Yeah. So I've had it confiscated and I've been left destitute for a week, 2 weeks without my Marmite. So always put your Marmite in your hold luggage.
Didn't you forget something even more important than Marmite once?
I forgot a child. My child. To be fair,
it's easy done.
To be fair, the little fella had hidden his passport, and we were about to go on a Caribbean cruise, and I'm talking about literally 2 days beforehand. And we searched the high and low for the passport everywhere we could think of, and we couldn't find it. And we had to make a very, very difficult decision. And we left him behind. I hasten to add, in very good care.
I did wonder.
It wasn't a Home Alone situation. And 2 days later, we got a picture from the childminder with him holding his passport. He'd hidden it in his favourite book.
Oh, bless him. How old was he? 17, 18? No.
He was 4. He was 4, bless him. But anyway, there we are.
Well, he won't do that again.
No, he won't. No.
Adam, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. It's been good fun. And thanks to you for watching. I'll see you again soon here on TB Cruise Channel.